What's up? This is Tom Froming from Twins Daily. Thanks for clicking on this video. We're going to talk about the Twins month of April. This was actually a suggested idea. Kind of somebody asked in one of these series recaps if I was going to do a monthly recap. And let's give it a quick shot here. So we're going to talk about April. Unfortunately, not a great month, but there are some things to be encouraged by. Unfortunately, the Twins got off to a bad start here in May as well, losing badly on May 1st here today. But again, we're going to focus this video on April and take a look at where they ranked across the league in a number of stats and just kind of discuss that some. Again, I feel bad. I'm not responding to all the comments, but I'm reading them all. I read all the comments, and I really appreciate it when people throw ideas like this out. Gives me some kind of new things to try. So thank you very much again. I apologize I didn't make note of who that was, but whoever it was, thank you. So again, we're just going to take a look at some of the numbers. As you can see here, obviously there are 30 teams in baseball, 28th in winning percentage in April. Ahead of only the Rockies and the Tigers, two of the most depressing franchises in the game right now. Not what we expected, and we've turned the page. We've turned the page in the calendar. It's getting to the point where there are a ridiculous number of games to play, yes, but we are a full month into the season now. It's still early, but there's a lot left to go. That is actually the lowest we're going to see the Twins ranked on any of these metrics that I grabbed, 28th. They are higher than that in every single other stat that we're looking at today. So kind of weird how that worked out. But it is what it is. Runs scored, 9th. I've got these color coded to where green is good, red is bad. The darker the red, the worse, the lighter the green, the better. So runs scored, 9th. Nothing wrong with that. Not, an elite offense, but certainly not pulling down the team. And then even runs allowed, 21st. That's not great. And these are per game, by the way. Runs scored and runs allowed per game. Runs allowed 21st, that is a concern. But, you feel like with those two, you should have had better than the 28th best winning percentage. So moving on, we're going to take a look at some offensive numbers. And these may be shocking, but offense is down terribly. Across baseball right now, it's down. So the Twins in April actually ranked 7th in batting average, 13th in OBP, 6th in slugging percentage, and 9th in OPS. So, way up there. I was looking, league-wide batting average right now is the worst it has ever been. Ever. That is a lot of baseball. There's to be the worst ever. And league-wide OPS was under 700. So, it's felt frustrating. It's felt like the Twins have struggled to score runs a lot. I mean, that's the fact. They have, but it's not unique to this team. They are doing actually pretty well in regard to a lot of these numbers. So there is the office. We're going to look at pitching and kind of overall run production next. So 16th in ERA, not below average, but again, these aren't the numbers you would expect for a team that ranks 28th in winning percentage. 10th in whip, 8th in strikeout to walk ratio, which usually ties really well to run prevention, and then 7th in defensive runs saved. So you look at all this, and it's like, well, how does it add up that they're in the 20s in runs allowed per game? And DRS does factor in errors, of course, into defense. But one of the things is they've had a lot of unearned runs. So the errors they've committed have led to a lot of unearned runs. So that's kind of the secret sauce of what makes it looks worse. And then basically you have Byron Buxton balling out of his mind, covering up for some other defensive inefficiencies and really carrying this number. A lot of this is Byron Buxton. So there's that. Moving on, the next one we're going to look at, and then is kind of context. So win probability added, this will factor in a lot of things. So I didn't want to have to pull up like batting with runners in scoring position or things like that. So, but that is baked into WPA, a lot of that. So this is a very context heavy stat. And I think sometimes it doesn't work really well using it in bigger picture context. It's usually really good for kind of individual games. And then I do like it for bullpen a lot, but it doesn't do as well with rotations and lineups. But I think this paints a pretty accurate picture. You'll have to let me know if this feels right, that this kind of context. We saw the Twins ranked very high in all those batting stats, but then we look at the WPA in batting and they're 23rd. How does that happen? Well, if you're not, hitting with runners in scoring position, if you're not hitting in high leverage situations, you're going to have a bad WPA. So, if you're loading the bases with no outs and not scoring runs, your WPA is going to be bad. So, that is sort of the secret sauce with the batting in terms of, hey, how did a team that's hit this well overall end up with this bad of a record? That's part of it. Rotation being 10th in the top 10. That feels right to me because really the rotation has been pretty solid overall. Kenta Maeda has been bad. Matt Shoemaker's been bad now, but he started off well. There haven't been a lot of games where it's just been a complete dud. It's kind of weird to say that today when there was a complete dud today. Again, recording this on May 1st. But that feels about right. And then the bullpen, it's almost kind of, if anything's shocking about that ranking, it's that there's two bullpens that have been lower. Just brutal. Colome has set all sorts of like records for worst WPA to start with a new team, worst WPA, just awful. But Tyler Duffy's been really struggling as well. So he's not the only one. There's some other guys that haven't been delivering in terms of that. But this all feels right to me as far as kind of further context. Circle back a bit to the fact that there is so much season left, and why that's important is not really always because, these guys will turn it around. Maybe not. That doesn't always happen. But what does happen is guys who aren't turning it around will get replaced. And we are kind of starting to see some of that turnover a little bit. Colome has been faded into a low leverage bullpen role. We've already seen that. The catching situation has been pretty bad so far, shockingly to me. And we saw Jeffers get sent down and Ben Rortvedt got called up. Of course, Alex Kirilloff is playing every single day now. That's a huge, and he's been playing really well. So that's of late. That's been huge. So you're going to see that. You're going to see the churn start. You're going to see guys who aren't playing well. Speaking of Matt, today Matt Shoemaker had a bad start. He's been on kind of a free fall. If that continues, they're going to cycle him out. Whether that's, hey, your arm hurts, go on the injured list and give somebody else some turns, or just completely moving on. That's going to start happening in all facets of the team because they're not just going to keep trying to do the same thing over and over again. That's the thing with the long season is the team that you start out with in April is never the team that you finish with in September. There's always turnover, especially if you're a team kind of middling. And the Twins, of course, are worse than that right now. Much worse than middling, unfortunately. But they're also not like the Tigers or like the Rockies in that they're in kind of a rebuilding phase in that they're just going to keep running out, a lot of the younger guys who are struggling. That's not, the Twins don't really have that either. So they're going to try to push buttons and try new things and try to figure things out. And, I wouldn't be shocked if we see a lot more kind of a churn, a lot more turnover in May, and then especially in June, because the big thing this month, yes, so excited. Minor league season starts this week, this coming, I'm so excited for this. I've missed the minor leagues so much. Any of the OGs, anybody who's been following this channel for a while know that I love to share minor league stuff, minor league highlights. We're going to talk a lot about the minor leagues. And I'm so excited for that. I missed that so much last year. It's a big, big part of this, what I want this channel to be. But with the minor league starting, you're getting guys performing. That's a lot different than having them sitting at the alternative site. So if a guy's tearing it up in AA or AAA, and you're sitting on these Shoemaker type guys who are, their salary isn't to the point where you can't just cut them, and they're struggling. So it's kind of, and you have a guy tearing it up, they're going to start to make those moves. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be interesting to see how they navigate this, kind of having this very veteran team that's expected to be winning, struggling. They're not going to completely turn everything over, of course, but they're definitely going to try to start finding the right mix. Thanks for checking this out. Again, we'll talk again soon.